from one artistic director to three, and maybe four. We're working on getting Frank in the room. But until we do, I will okay. Okay, Frank's. But anyway, here with us now are representatives from Deeply Rooted Dance Theater. There he is. Nicole Clark-Springer and Kevin Aiega-Jeff. Frank Chavez, former director of River North Dance Chicago, and Eduardo Villaro, who founded Luna Negra Dance Theater. And of course, he's the artistic and executive director of Ballet Hispanico now. Welcome. We were just talking about artistic directorship with Robert Battle, who, if it weren't a crowded house, could join this conversation too. But, I knew was going to be, definitely the start of a longer conversation and probably workshops and books and all the rest based on that. But maybe we can start actually, Nicole, with Deeply Rooted, because of the model of the company and the sort of shared collaborative leadership that you have and as becoming a recent artistic director. Tell us a little bit about that structure.
Well, we have a team, is what we call the artistic team. I am the artistic director now for the Deeply Rooted Dance Theater. It makes me smile every time I say that. Aiega has transitioned over to creative director over our Southside Dance Center. Gary Abbott is staying with the position of our associate artistic director. And we have a newbie on the team, Joshua L. Ishman. He is our company member and rehearsal director, as well as producing director for Emerging Choreographer Showcase. And the structure is really, it's one that works for us. It's very supportive. And without the structure, I wouldn't feel as confident that I'm starting to feel inside this position and supported and loved inside of the Deeply Rooted mission. It just really supports me. We each have a lane. We work our lane well. And when we have to cross over, we wave each other down and we get, our opinions, we share our ideas, and they allow me to spearhead that vision for the company. And I'm honored to do so, very much so.
And Aiega, what was it for you that I guess made you realize it was time for you to cross over, as Nicole put it?
I think it's how I felt and what I saw happening around me and what needed to occur in response to that. I saw people growing inside of their own leadership, inside of their own self-expression. And I felt that there was also work for me to get onto. I felt I had done what I could as artistic director for the company. I saw Nicole's brilliance and passion and love and freshness, and I said that, wow, the company could really, really benefit by having that energy and leadership. And I'm really more interested now in making sure that the institutional foundation of the company is solid. So we need a home. So I'm working on the development of a Southside Dance Center. And we're also looking at creating work for alternative stages. So there's a special projects division that we were launching last year until COVID interrupted everything, where we would have done our first partnership with Broadway in Chicago. A totally different project, but definitely dance related, which would have taken us to different stages.
And Frank, you also had a partner when you started your tenure at River North.
I did.
Can you tell us about that, and then moving into full directorship?
Yeah, when I first joined River North, Sherry Zunker was actually the artistic director. And shortly after I joined, I became co-artistic director. And I will say that coming from being a dancer and then all of a sudden jumping into a position of directorship, there's no school to go to become an artistic director. I think we're all kind of flying by the seat of our pants and pulling from our experiences and the directors that we've experienced, and in order to shape what kind of company we want to have. I will say that, having had a co-director and then become a sole artistic director, my time with Sherry, I will say, was incredibly special. And I will say those, to be honest, were really probably my best years and most enjoyable years, because to have somebody that you get to share that position with, and somebody just bounce things off of and explore different ideas while we see everything very similarly in terms of what we wanted to see on stage. We both brought different things to the company, so that was a very special time. Like I said, not to say that I didn't have a great time moving forward, and then really just being able to explore my vision, my complete vision, and what I would want for the company and how that would move throughout the years. And it was a total of 23 years, and 23 fantastic years. But it's not easy. It wasn't easy. It's never easy. You have to manage people, no matter what environment you're in.
Yeah.
But developing that is always a challenge. And again, like I said, you just learn on the job.
Yeah, and that's been a topic of conversation in lots of different ways, right? And we even had it. And I'm curious too, because you all were dancers before you were directing your company, and maybe this is a good entree into Eduardo and Luna Negra too. You built that company from the ground up. So maybe we can start with you, but I'd love to hear, what did you learn? There's no school for artistic directorship, but what did you learn as a part of another company that you were able to employ in starting a company, directing a company, et cetera?
As a dancer, I think that's the thing that helps either position, either that you're being handed down a directorship, or you are hired, or it's very different. The constant is that you're a dancer, that you have the discipline, that you have the integrity, that you have the perseverance, that you come to it with a vision. And I think Frank mentioned this, a vision that is an offshoot of what you learn from other artistic directors, choreographers, and dancers. And so that's a good constant, because that takes you through so much. What's in both instances, what's different and difficult most of the time is what you don't know. And in both instances, what you don't know is very different. When you're founding something, you have this energy, right? That you just go. And so there is no risk aversion, fear of risk. And there's just like, I've got to get this through. You're the pastor getting your flock together, getting your church together. And so there is it's that vision that pulls you through. You make a lot of mistakes. You make a lot of mistakes, but those are forgiven, because all of a sudden the voices come together for you. When you come on to something that's been given, that's been going on, and you enter it, there is a different risk and a different worry of the unknown. The unknown comes with a legacy, and the legacy is full of baggage. And that baggage goes throughout everything, artist to board. And so what happens is that you have to unearth all of that. So your vision kind of has to do this dual track that oh my gosh. And so I know I haven't yet I think I told you everything that a dancer brings, but it's that learning how to bifurcate what you know and what you don't know that helps you through it.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Other thoughts on that?
No, totally agree. I felt like it's like parenthood. In this position, I feel the same way I felt when I first birthed my first daughter. That no one tells you, and if they did, you might rethink it. So you have to really think about, your vision inside of it. And I agree with Eduardo. It's trying to maintain and hold on to a vision that's already there and pay homage to it, and make sure that you're, keeping it safe and moving it forward. And recognizing all the special things that made me, at least for Deeply Rooted, remembering what kept me there for so long. It was a total life shift when I met this man. And I just knew I had to be with this company. And that's the part, that specialness, that integral part, I want to make sure that I keep safe. and hold precious and near and dear the mission to my heart and make sure it spreads. But then inside of that, I know and I want to have a vision for myself inside of this position and how I can expand this vision and take it 25 years more. This is our 25th anniversary of the company. And here's to 25 years.
Yay.
Rocking it. And then 25 more beyond me, passing it on. So it's well said, Eduardo. It's
I just want to acknowledge Frank Chavez, and I'm going to start with Eduardo actually, because we share space. When Luna Negra was doing beautiful dancing here in Chicago, and I just want to say, Luna Negra was a stunning company, and congrats to you for the time that you gave us that work. Eduardo, it was really beautiful work.
Thank you.
And Frank Chavez is just a gift to Chicago and a personal gift to me. He's commissioned me, I think about three times. Yep. And each time he's so generous, he's so open, he's just a visionary leader, and we're so lucky to have him in Chicago. And I'm so lucky to be able to call you a friend and a colleague.
Oh, Aiga. Thank you. I have to say the same about you. When Nicole mentioned that life shift when you met Aiga, I had that same sense when I met this man, who was just your energy and your vision that I knew you had for yourself and for your company was also a gift to Chicago. I remember seeing you perform your solo. It's the first time everybody knew about Aiga had moved to town, and it was Dance for Life at the Skyline stage. And there is this man out there in a dance belt, and one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, one of the most beautiful solos I had ever seen. And that truly was a gift, the very beginning of his gift to Chicago.
I love hearing this because, as you said before, there's not necessarily a playbook or a book to learn how to do this, but it strikes me that you have each other, and you had other people too. Let's just, keep that train going for a second. Who were those folks that were instrumental beyond the four of you in maybe guiding you as you were directing your companies or are?
For me, the very first person, I danced for a regional company. I went after I had been dancing for, I don't know, maybe 2 years. And the director there, Patricia Strauss, who works now and teaches with the Sarasota Ballet, was one of the most generous, kindest people that I have ever met in this industry. And that was my very first exposure, and I feel like I carried that throughout, and I've been fortunate to have that, I feel, pretty much throughout my career. A big influence for me, I have to call out, shout out Lou Conti from Hubbard Street, and from my years at Hubbard Street, that's where I really learned and felt. That was the meat of my career as a dancer, and what influenced me so much and what I wanted to see in a company moving forward. And I always knew I wanted that, and I wanted to be on the other side, but I would have danced as long as I could.
Yeah.
For me, the female. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Nick, please go. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say I come from a ballet background, and my first artistic director was George Verdak with Indianapolis Ballet Theater. But the second was Dasi Diananis, who inherited the company from him. And I think every time I think of a female leader, an artistic director, the first one in my life was Dasi Diananis, and she was just incredible to be around. She was hard, she was tough, but she had a vision for that company, and so. Yeah. My first female inspiration.
I've been influenced by so many, including Frank Chavez. But I definitely would say Bernice Johnson. She was my first teacher at her studio, Bernice Johnson Dance Studio, combined with Alvin Ailey, because I did know him, and I was mentored by him through the school inside of conversations we would have. And he really shared some really powerful perspectives, which I don't think are really that public, which have really been helpful to me, which really relates to aligning your spirit with your work and making sure that you're always taking care of your spirit first. And that was really critical. And then the other thing I'll say is the International Association of Blacks in Dance, which I think has been very helpful, because there are conversations between artistic directors. It's a 30-year-old organization, and we at least had the opportunity to come together once a year and convene and discuss topics around artistic direction and management and things of that nature. So I think those forums have been very helpful.
Well, for me, it's a little different because I came to Chicago and I knew no one. And after I finished a degree there, I did know someone. Bonnie Brooks gave me a call, and Bonnie has this amazing, extensive background in arts administration. And, you know, at that time it was 99, and, you know, she really taught me about an arts ecosystem. And she was instrumental in really kind of revving up this renaissance with everyone here, you know, through the dance center. So that was really helpful to me, that guidance. And, you know, we're still friends, and she still continues to give that. That was on the administrative side. On the artistic side, you know, I just have to give props to Anna Pawskewska, who had another this expansive background in education and teaching, and the education, you know, ballet training, and also in performing. So she was very instrumental to me while I was building Luna Negra Dance Theater. But it was so interesting because I was getting mentorship from two people I wasn't expecting. And then the rest for me, you know, having watched Tina in my time with Ballet Hispanico was an education in itself. And so I knew I was prepared with something, and Tina was always very much putting me out there. I mean, I remember it was just a year, and she was like, "You're going to lead this this special project that we were working with kids living in temporary shelters in New York City in the 80s." And she was like, "No, you're running the whole thing. You could do this." And I was like, okay. And I did it. And that was, you know, she saw leadership also. So she mentored leadership in whatever way it was for me a very important way.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with this group of people, I've got a million questions. I hope I get another chance to ask them. And I hope this is just the beginning. I'm going to end it here, but we are going to see a short compilation of all your companies in some archival footage. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So wonderful to be here with this esteemed panel. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you all so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.